Ever think about, like, how far jealousy could push somebody? I mean, really, push someone,
Yeah.
like, to the edge.
It's a powerful emotion.
Yeah.
One that can really cloud judgment and, sometimes leads to pretty unpredictable outcomes.
Like in this story we're going to deep dive into today.
Right.
It's about Caitlyn Armstrong and Mariah Wilson.
Yeah, tragic case.
Mariah Wilson was a professional cyclist.
Right, incredibly talented. They called her Mo.
Yeah, and her life was cut short,
Yeah, really sad.
Yeah.
A classic love triangle situation.
Yeah.
Things got really messy really fast.
So let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
Back in the fall of 2021, Mo, she meets this fellow cyclist, Colin Strickland.
Right, in Austin.
In Austin, Texas, yeah.
Yeah.
And
they hit it off right away.
they hit it off.
Yeah, whirlwind romance.
Yeah. But then just like a month later, things kind of fizzle out.
Right.
And Colin goes back to his ex-girlfriend,
Caitlyn Armstrong.
a yoga instructor named Caitlyn Armstrong.
Yeah. I mean, those situations can be so tough.
Yeah.
There's always baggage.
Yeah.
Past hurts, insecurities. It's like a breeding ground for jealousy.
And then it gets even more complicated because Mo and Colin,
They decide to stay friends.
they stay friends, right?
Right. Which,
Yeah.
on the surface, it sounds harmless enough.
Yeah.
But,
Caitlyn wasn't too happy about it.
right. I mean, can you blame her?
Well, I mean,
She was suspicious. She
Mhm.
had every right to be.
yeah, it turned out that Colin was kind of hiding things.
Yeah.
He was like,
Oh, yeah.
he had Mo's number in his phone
Under a fake name.
under a different name. Yeah.
Sneaking around.
Sneaky.
Yeah, not exactly building trust there.
No, not at all. It's like a soap opera,
It is.
all these secrets and lies.
And you can just feel that tension building.
Yeah.
Caitlyn's trying to figure out what's going on, who to
Yeah.
believe.
And then things get even more intense because in January 2022, Mo and Caitlyn, they meet face to face
For the first time.
for the first time
At a cycling event.
at a cycling event in Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, can you imagine that?
Talk about awkward.
Super awkward,
Yeah.
right? And afterwards, Mo even texts Colin, like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
What are you
Wow.
doing?
It sounds like he was sending mixed signals.
Yeah, maybe not intentionally,
Yeah.
but definitely mixed signals. And around that same time,
Caitlyn finds out the truth.
she finds out about their past romance,
The whole story.
and she is not happy.
I bet.
I mean, some of her friends said that she was furious,
Right.
talking about wanting to harm Mo.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's a whole other level.
That's when it crosses the line,
Right when jealousy turns into something much darker.
Exactly.
Okay.
So now we're in May of 2022.
Okay.
Mo's back in Austin for another cycling race.
Right.
And on May 11th, Colin takes her swimming. They go to dinner.
While lying to Caitlyn about where he is.
Lying to Caitlin the whole time.
Yeah, just digging that hole deeper and deeper.
Yeah. So that evening, Colin drops Mo off at her friend's house
Okay.
where she was staying. And just 1 minute after, Mo walks inside.
1 minute.
1 minute later, a black Jeep Grand Cherokee.
The same kind that Caitlyn drives.
Yeah, same model that Caitlyn owns,
Mm-hmm.
is caught on a neighbor's security camera driving past the house.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that puts her
Right there
near the scene.
at the exact time.
Wow.
And later that night, tragedy strikes.
What happened?
Mo's friend finds her in the bathroom,
Oh, no.
unconscious,
Oh, gosh.
shot multiple times.
Wow.
Yeah. And the next day, the police, during their investigation, they find out that Caitlyn has an outstanding warrant.
For what?
It was for like an unpaid Botox bill or something.
Curiously.
Yeah, no, kind of crazy, right?
That's wild.
So they bring her in for questioning,
Okay.
but there was like a clerical error on the warrant
Oh, no.
with her date of birth,
Wow.
and they have to let her go.
A bureaucratic blunder.
Yeah. A little mistake with huge consequences.
What?
Because as soon as she's released,
She disappears.
gone, she books a flight from Texas to New York,
Wow.
deactivates all her social media,
She knew.
vanishes into thin air.
She knew she was in trouble.
Yeah, 5 days later, the U.S. Marshals, they issue a homicide warrant for her arrest.
So now it's a full-blown manhunt.
Nationwide manhunt.
Caitlyn goes from person of interest to fugitive.
Her life changes in an instant.
Yeah, talk about fight or flight.
Yeah,
She went into full survival mode.
absolutely.
I mean, can you imagine having to disappear like that?
Yeah.
Change your whole life?
your whole identity.
It's like starting from scratch.
And she went to some pretty extreme lengths,
Oh, yeah, she was resourceful.
Yeah, she used her sister's name to get a new ID in New York.
Right.
And then they caught her on camera at Newark Airport boarding a flight to Costa Rica.
Taking a fake passport.
Fake passport. And she had like a whole new look,
Yeah, she died. Her hair cut it short. Even had some work done.
like plastic surgery.
Yeah, she was trying to become somebody else.
It's
Completely.
almost like she was trying to erase herself.
Right. It's like a psychological escape as well as a physical one.
And while all of this is happening, Colin, he's like publicly expressing remorse.
Yeah, he knew he messed up.
Yeah, and then he decides to go into hiding himself.
Really?
Yeah, he was afraid that Caitlyn might come after him.
I mean, it's understandable.
Yeah, I can see that.
He was caught in the middle of all this.
Right.
Probably felt a lot of guilt, too.
Yeah, so the manhunt for Caitlyn, it goes on for over a month.
43 days.
43 days. Can you imagine the pressure?
The waiting.
The not knowing.
Yeah, it must have been excruciating for everyone involved.
And then finally they find her.
They catch her at a hostel in Costa Rica,
Wow.
living under an alias, teaching yoga.
Teaching yoga.
Like she was trying to blend in, start a
Oh.
new life.
That's wild.
Right, trying to pretend that everything was normal.
Yeah, like nothing had happened.
So they extradite her back to the U.S.
She's facing some serious charges.
First-degree murder. And through it all, she maintains her innocence.
Right. Her lawyer argued that the police were too focused on her.
Tunnel vision, they call it.
Yeah, they said they ignored other leads.
And they also questioned the evidence, like the DNA and ballistics.
They said it was junk science.
Yeah, they basically tried to poke holes in the whole case.
Trying to create reasonable doubt.
Exactly. And they painted this picture of Caitlyn as this free spirit.
An adventurer.
Yeah, saying that her trip to Costa Rica and all the changes to her appearance.
It was just her being her.
Yeah, loving travel and yoga.
But come on.
I mean, the timing's pretty suspicious.
Right. It's hard to believe that it was all just a coincidence.
And then while she's waiting for her trial,
She tries to escape?
she tries to escape from custody during a medical appointment.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, and turns out she had been planning it for months.
She was serious about getting away.
Yeah, working out, getting in shape, mentally preparing herself.
I guess she wasn't ready to give up her freedom.
Not at all. So the trial finally begins in November 2022.
Okay.
And the prosecution, they lay out their case.
What did they focus on?
Well, they started with the gun.
The murder weapon?
Yeah, a 9mm handgun. And guess what?
What?
Colin had bought it for Caitlyn as a gift,
Oh, wow.
just a few months before Mo was killed.
So that ties her directly to the type of gun used.
Yep, pretty damning evidence.
Yeah, that's hard to explain away.
And remember that black Jeep Grand Cherokee?
The one they saw on the security footage.
The prosecution revealed that Caitlyn had sold it the
Oh,
day after she was questioned by the police.
interesting.
And she sold it for way less than it was worth.
She just wanted to get rid of it.
Yeah, and she got $12,000 in cash.
Sounds like she was trying to cover her tracks.
Right, and of course the prosecution brought up her escape to Costa Rica.
The fake passport, the aliases, the whole thing.
Yeah, they said it was all part of a calculated plan to avoid being caught.
Makes sense.
Right, but the defense, they stuck to their story.
Saying she was innocent?
They said the police had rushed to judgment and that Caitlyn's actions after Mo's death.
Were just normal for her.
Yeah, just her personality,
They were trying to humanize her
make her seem relatable.
so that the jury wouldn't see her as a cold-blooded killer.
Yeah, but it's a tough sell.
With all that evidence stacked against her.
Yeah, so after weeks of testimony and deliberation, the jury came back with a verdict.
Guilty of first-degree murder.
Wow.
It was a tough case, but in the end, the jury believed the prosecution.
And what about the sentence?
Life in prison without parole.
Wow.
Yeah, a tough sentence, but it reflects the seriousness of the crime.
It really is a tragedy for everyone involved, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mo's life was cut short.
A young, talented cyclist gone way too soon.
In Colin, he's left dealing with the consequences of his actions.
And Caitlyn, she's going to spend the rest of her life behind bars.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that it all started with jealousy, you know?
Right. How did it escalate to this?
It's a question we're all left asking.
And it's not just those directly involved who are affected.
No, the whole cycling community was shaken by this.
Mo was a rising star, you know?
Yeah, she had so much potential.
It's a huge loss for the sport.
And for everyone who knew her.
It makes you wonder about Caitlyn, you know?
What do you mean?
Like, how could a yoga instructor, someone who's supposed to be all about peace and mindfulness,
Right.
how could she end up doing something like this?
It's a really good question. I mean, people can change.
Yeah.
Sometimes in ways we never expect.
Maybe the pressure got to her.
The stress of being on the run, the fear of getting caught.
Maybe it just broke her.
It's possible. I mean, think about it. She had to completely reinvent herself.
New identity, new look, new life.
And it was all based on a lie.
Yeah, a lie that spiraled out of control.
And the people who knew both Caitlyn and Mo, I can't imagine what they're going through.
Their families, their friends, the whole cycling community.
It's like a ripple effect, you know?
The pain just spreads
And
outwards.
it's not just about grief, it's about confusion, too.
Right. Trying to make sense of something that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. How could someone they thought they knew do something so terrible?
This case really captured the public's imagination, didn't it?
It was everywhere on the news and the papers online.
Everyone was talking about it.
I think it's because it touches on something so primal, you know?
The dark side of human nature.
Yeah, the idea that anyone is capable of this kind of violence.
It's scary.
And it raises so many questions about love and jealousy and betrayal.
And about the justice system, too.
Did the police do everything right?
Did Caitlyn get a fair trial?
These are questions that will probably be debated for years to come.
So where do we go from here?
While the trial is over, the verdict has been reached.
But the story doesn't end there, does it?
No, the healing process is just beginning for everyone involved.
And we as a society need to have some tough conversations.
About healthy relationships, about recognizing the warning signs of abuse.
About how to deal with jealousy and anger in a constructive way.
Because this tragedy is a reminder that even the most ordinary people
Can be driven to do extraordinary things.
and that the consequences can be devastating.
Well, this has been a really intense deep dive.
Yeah, a lot to unpack.
The case of Caitlyn Armstrong and Mariah Wilson is a story that will stay with me for a long time.
Me too. It's a reminder that we all have a responsibility to look out for each other.
And to seek help when we need it.
Because sometimes love can turn into something dark and dangerous.
And we need to be aware of the signs before it's too late.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll be back next week with another compelling story.